You see, every time I have to discuss government, I always have a concern. Government usually will say private sector. Listen, private sector can work, and we have been working. But a single action by government will have more effect than the private sector. Let's be open to ourselves. For me, I think one of the things we also need to do is to start to place a demand on government to do more. There is a burden of low expectation on government with regards to education. In the last 4 years, there is no state or federal government that has done anything in education that was different from what Awolowo or Para did. There is not one. They have built schools, Awolowo did. They have trained teachers, Awolowo did.
So are you saying what we see today?
So the problem is that the solutions we're using to tackle the education was in 1952. We said we're going to train 500,000 teachers this year. Awolowo had the same agenda. Interestingly, he decided to train them in teacher training colleges for 3 years. We want to train them in 15 months. So he's even going to train them better than we will. So you realize that the therapy, the solutions we have, as far back as when Atiku Abubakar was a child, there was a law in northern Nigeria that if you did not send your child to school, you'll be jailed. Atiku Abubakar's father was jailed for not sending the child to school. Today, this month, the Kaduna State government just signed a law that if you don't let your child go to school, you'll be jailed. So you realize that all the therapies, when we hear, oh, there's a new thing we're doing, I go to check my history of education written by Pastor Fuwa, I saw that Opara did it. So the problem is that the world is moving. And they don't need our permission to keep moving. Yes. We are not moving. We are going to copy the solutions of the 1950s to solve the problem of today. And I think one of the roles we can do as citizens is to start to bring up those issues to government to say, don't say you are doing a new thing. This is not new, and this will not meet the needs of the time that we're in. I think that's one thing we need to do. I think another thing we need to do, and very urgently, is education must start to become part of the debates in Nigeria. Last election, education did not show up. It didn't. The local government election in Lagos State should happen this year. If they allow it to happen. Because they have not allowed it in almost 6 years. I don't understand. But the local government system is the owners of the primary education system. That's the foundation. That's the weakest form of government. So in Nigeria, we have placed the foundation of education in the weakest level of government. And we have ensured, just this year, we're in August, we have had 3 different sets of leaders in local government systems in Lagos State. The current one are called sole administrators, administrating local government solely. The point is, how do you, in 8 months, have 3 sets of leaders to manage the foundation of education? Of course, we have states like Lagos State that seems to have taken up the role of local government. So roles of local government have become part of what the state does. But the question is, we need to interrogate why our local government system still has responsibility for primary schools, but they don't work. The last one I think we should do is that all of us, I know for anybody in this room, most likely your children are in private schools. So I know God has helped you. Your ministry has moved to permanent site. But those private schools that rejoice in having 16 children per class, they are in the minority. If you go to the public school at the junction of your house, those ones are 60 students per class. So they will choke your students, choke them. So I think all of us also need to take responsibility for the public schools around us. I think we need to show up as this term resumes in a couple of weeks and go and check what is even happening there. Let me tell you one experience I had that made me believe that it's something that we need to deliberate. So I called a couple of friends and said, okay, there's a school at the junction, none of our children attend, there's a public school. Let's go and see what we'll do. School was good, let's go and give them exercise books. So we decided that we're going to buy exercise for everybody who was coming in afresh. And then we got there to say how many students were there. They told us, and then we said where their classrooms, because we wanted to see them. Apparently they were not in the classroom. So when we got to the classroom, it was like an open hall, there were no seats. There were no seats in the class. So,
Lagos.
Yes, Lagos. Lagos State, not Lagos Village, Lagos State. So we said, no, it can't happen in Lagos. So we said, we want to take a picture. That was the part that shocked me, of the students where they sat. These students sat on tire. I say this, and anybody can say what I said is not true. Sat on tie, I saw it. And somebody said, we can't take their picture because they don't want them to report that was the state of that school. And that was more painful to me. Because this was a school system that needed help. That had people, so we had raised money for exercise books. So it was clear that we needed to, because what's the point giving people exercise books when they don't have tables? So our decision was that we were going to do tables for them. But we needed to, the people that give money for exercise books, we wanted to go back and say, like guys, we need to do more. We need to do tables. Let's take a picture. And they said no. So you know what we did? We said, can the students go out? So we sat on the tires. And we took our pictures with tires and we sent to people. And we had to make tables. And then the day we delivered tables, somebody wanted to ease himself. And they said you should go behind there. That behind there was where you had the female student and the male student behind there. You know the implication of that. And then somebody said, where will we end? From exercise book, we have done chairs, now we are doing toilets and all of that. But the point is, there is a life in that school that you are changing. I think all of us, as our children go back to school, should have, even if it's 10% or whatever your child will pay as school fees, or and say, I'm going to go to the public school in the from my house and I'm going to make a difference. Now you may look at it and say the problem is so much, honestly, I agree so much. But if it's just a blackboard that you made black, no blackboard can have become white. If that's all you did, you have done something. Somebody will be inspired by that school. I think we need to take that private responsibility for the schools we have around us. Our public school systems need a lot of improvements. The role of citizens to ensure we have a voice in the running of those schools cannot be overemphasized. And we need to make it happen. And I don't think we should wait for one government to tell us to do it. This month, school resumes by next month. We can all take an action about a school close to our house and make a difference.